So, welcome. It's a tiny family. So really, this is a dream that Suchi and I had for the last 3 years. Every time she would talk to me and fill me in with what was happening in the world of CSA, um, I would keep telling her. I said, "Listen, in 1999, it was estimated that there were 1.2 million NGOs in this country, 20% of which were working in education. That's roughly 20 to 25, 200 to 250,000 NGOs. Today, the estimate is 3.5 million. Whatever number we choose between the two, we're looking at approximately 200 to 600,000 NGOs working on education. And how many working on CSA? I mean, literally, loosely, maybe have phones on silent, please. Looking at it loosely, 20, 25. And even if you don't take the 52.2% figure that the government has given of its last survey of about 12,000 odd children, even if it's 22.2%, out of 470 million children, that's an epidemic. And there are 25 of us. If there's any matter of shame, it's not that child sexual abuse happens in this country, but it's that there are just 25 people, entities, organizations, individuals, and of course the ecosystem around them, counselors. 200? So I told Suchi, I said, what are we doing? We are not going to get anywhere unless we get together. I don't know. You guys are the experts, the practitioners. But all I know is that we have to work together. And this society, in any profession, at best is disjointed. At worst is ridden with rivalries. That can't be with CSA. It isn't as yet. It shouldn't be. So we've decided once a year we'll get together. We'll share our drawbacks, our frustrations, our uphill tasks, our quests to get money, our failures, our successes, our learnings, our great experiences with government, the new people we find who are shining lights on this massive horizon. Let's put it all together. So that after these 2 days, we just have to pick up the phone. And we will know that we are all connected. As it is, if we picked up a phone and asked someone for help, it's never not going to come. But in this way, we will know exactly who to call for what. I need this in Chennai, and I know that Vidya is the person to talk to, or somebody else. We're looking for this. There's no one in this place, but in this region, there's a possibility that we can work together and create something. That is where ASCCSA has come from. You will make it. It's got nothing to do with the foundation. If you look at all your umbrellas, there's no logo, there's no sign, nothing. I said, Suchi, just give people something that they would love to use. This is not about screaming child sexual abuse of the foundation. Give people something, because whenever I go to symposia, invariably I get a beautiful bag with an ugly logo, or an ugly bag with an ugly logo. I'm like, what would you do with this? This is something that it's just a gentle reminder of the 2 days that we will spend together. When Suchi joined the foundation in 2008, and I had much more hair on my head at the time, I said, look, we are a NGO that is committed to a world without discrimination. So our other initiative, children from the furthest outposts of India, disconnected from the foundational idea of India as a secular democratic republic, are the ones that we're going to look at and teach them that they are not left behind, that they are not excluded from this idea. What would you like to work in? Because if you're not happy, or if you're only half happy, only half your heart is going to be with the foundation. So forget about what I've told you. what is your thing that if I make that dream come true, you'll never leave the foundation? And she said, child sexual abuse. So I have had 5 long-term relationships, not all together. That would have been interesting. But one after the other. 4 of those women have been sexually abused, ranging from a domestic help in the house to a father who raped one of my ex-girlfriends for 5 years every single day, till, as she says, she was strong enough to push him away. And I said, Suchi, all I can tell you is while we are focused on a world without discrimination, in child sexual abuse, the discriminated against is also the survivor. Because I noticed that the discrimination is internalized. Something must be wrong with me. I did something wrong. I'm like, and to hold that heavy, as you all know, just gently chips away or alternately crushes you. And so I said that discrimination is as important as somebody from a different caste or a different religion or a different gender being discriminated against. So I said, it might not obviously seem like we're working towards a world without discrimination through HEAL, but of course we are. And of course we will continue to do so. So I know there's about 100 of you who have turned up out of the 200 registered, and people will keep trickling in and out, so we'll keep refreshing this message. But thank you. Thank you for coming. I think we can hold our heads pretty high and say that when it comes to the CSA community, it's going to be a community, it already is, and it'll only be strengthened by us. Together we make a drop. And so just to us to work together, to talk together, to share together at all points of time is the dream. We will meet, this is my guarantee, and Suchi is because she'll outlast me on this earth. We will meet every 365 days. And this will be a link in a chain that all of us are already part of. But this will be a link in a chain that will be reinforced year after year after year. It cannot be done alone. It has to be done together. So let's start now. Thank you. Thanks very much. Oh, sorry, Suchi. Yeah. Sorry, she said that some people have asked me to talk about CSA and the media, and would you like me to talk about that for 5 minutes? About how it's represented in cinema and television and documentaries and radio and things. Look, the popular narrative is that cinema has a large role to play in social change, and I disagree. I don't believe cinema has anything more than a fleeting, occasional flirtation with social change. And the reasons for that are as follows. 1, reach. When you actually make a movie, the reach of that movie is something we have to look at. So the initial reach will always be limited. After that, if and when it gets onto television, take a film like Onir's I Am. It just doesn't. Because if you truly make a film that is hard-hitting about issues, it will not appear on general television. It might appear in the years to come late at night or something like that, deemed to be adult content. Second, one Mr. and Mrs. Iyer does not a secular state make. You need to have that reinforced year after year after year after year. Aside from all other media, you need to have it reinforced, even if it's through cinema, followed by the next film, and the next film, and the next film, and the next film. That is not going to happen for 2 reasons. One is, films with messages are very tricky. You can look at Three Idiots, you can look at Rang De Basanti, and you can extrapolate problematic as well as constructive lessons from these films. But to actually package a message in a movie entertainingly so that millions watch it is not easy. Second, I don't believe cinema has ever, I don't believe, I have a lecture on cinema from the 1930s to now, Indian cinema, takes the lead. It's a faithful follower. It's a younger sibling that looks at society as the elder sibling, finds a trend emerging, and picks up on it. But having said that, we have a pretty good history of films on CSA. Oni's I Am had one of the strands of the story was on CSA. I made a movie called Everybody Says I'm Fine, which had a very strong thread on CSA, as well as, from the top of my head, Meera Nair's Monsoon Wedding, where there was a strong thing. But these were done in dramatic fashions whereby you don't actually turn around and say, well, what's the solution? Certainly not murder, as in my movie, where the hairdresser actually goes out there and kills the father. Certainly that's no solution. So you can actually inject the idea of a problem, but to come away with the entire solution is the work of documentary. I don't know, and I know that there's one documentary filmmaker amongst us who's made a 45-minute film on it, but I actually haven't yet watched an Anand Patwardhan-esque documentary on child sexual abuse, or a Rakesh Mehra, who would do, not Rakesh Mehra, sorry, Rakesh? Sharma. Rakesh's work on communalism and various other topics. That kind of work is something I believe the future lies, I've always said this, through that medium. Documentaries, because dissemination is so easy. Stick it in front of a movie, put it onto any television channel, get it into colleges, schools, that kind of dissemination, put it on the internet. So that kind of dissemination is really easy. So yes, I think a lot more needs to be done. Do not expect it from cinema. It is a business, primarily. It happens to be art for a few of us misguided souls. But it is a business primarily. And when you're conducting a business, you look and say, I want to make a shirt that makes a lot of money. I will automatically look at the highest selling shirt in the world, change a color of the button or something like that, and put it out there. This is not a medium where the shirt is reinvented into a shawl. That's not going to happen in cinema. It's going to happen in media where you don't have that much of an expense, where you don't put that much down, like in theater. So that's my little half pearl of wisdom on that. Thank you. Thanks again. I'm going to call Suchi up. She's going to introduce the panelists that are going to kick off the 2 days. And then I'm just going to moderate by asking the simplest questions, which is about how we can bridge the gap. Today we know the task is gargantuan, and we are a few. So how are we going to bridge this gap? Let's start that dialogue right now. Thanks.